Hey guys, welcome to the CSF As You Go podcast, where we're looking at how we can keep our faith active throughout the week. We are so glad to bring you the first episode of this podcast, as we are seeking just to equip college students to be able to keep their faith strong, keep their faith active, and to just keep following the way of Jesus. And so today we are doing an interview with the staff of CSF, interviewing Adam Caldwell and Hannah West, and myself, kind of, in a way, Ben Locke. And so we are the staff at CSF. Figured it'd be cool to do an interview specifically with them to kind of have a get to know you, as they will, I'm sure, be reoccurring people that are on the show. And so very glad to have them on, and we have a good conversation just about who we are, all about campus ministry, and just how we've come to fall in love with it, and how we can continue helping college students to grow in their relationship with Jesus. And so catch it, and thank you for joining in with us this week for our first episode of CSF As You Go. Well, hey everyone, this is the staff episode for our new As You Go podcast, talking about keeping faith throughout the week for our just college students and really anybody. But today we got Adam and Hannah that are
Hello.
on.
Hi.
Howdy.
And I'm Ben, if that wasn't necessarily clear, but we're all on staff at CSF, and so we're bringing a quick little introduction about who we are, and because we'll be mainly the more common ones along in the show, and so figured it would be a fun time for us to just talk about things, get to know us, and us to get to know you. We are currently in University Hall at Indiana State's campus. And so we're just going to do some basic interview questions. So yeah, I feel like this is the basic question that always gets asked with podcast people. But what is your quick story of how you fell in love with Jesus?
For me, it's definitely been a process over the time of my life. Not any one instance, but I grew up in the church. I was immersed in the biblical stories, and saw faith lived out from people. But I think coming to the place of realizing my need for Jesus was a really big one. Of I'm not good enough. I could not do enough good things for salvation. Was a piece of that. But also, over time, a big part of my growing in faith and kind of reigniting or learning more about God, just through this dual thing of nature and scripture. There's always a big piece for me in that, of seeing the grandeur of God within the creation that He's made. Always brings me back to that point, another falling in love, but also the details of the scriptures, and the more I learn about just their makeup and how they've been passed on through time, and how God has protected that and passed it through, always is another kind of falling in love moment for me. So those have been big ones for me on that.
I think for me, it's hard to think of this as past tense, because I feel like it just keeps going. And whenever I'm in a different season of life, or the older I get, as my family changes, as I change, I think it's a bit different. But something that carries through all of it, similar to a lot of our stories, growing up in the church, knowing the stories, hearing the name Jesus fairly often. But I also remember very real feelings, even as a child, of confusion and anxiety and nervousness of getting wrapped up in doing the right or wrong thing. And really like falling in love with Jesus. Like, you can't fall in love with Jesus unless you know who he is. And so I think getting down to that, like, the relational aspects of like, Jesus was a person and he acts this way and God is like this. And so thinking of like just the characteristics of God, like safe and welcoming and inviting and mighty and faithful and good, all these things that I desperately needed, and really just a need to like surrender those things. Even as a kid, I remember dealing with, with those like anxious thoughts or thinking that I didn't have any control over myself, but that I am called to something bigger than me, which I think all of us like can resonate with and can relate to. And I think that's really just what keeps me coming back again and again. Like, I keep falling in love with a God that is good and a God that cares about me and who's here with me. And that's about as quick as I can get without tangenting.
Very good, very good. Yeah, that's awesome. And I think for me, like, there's the aspect of striving for perfection that so long had been my thing, of wanting to be successful, wanting to strive to be Jesus without following Jesus, if that makes sense. And like, knowing that Jesus is there, breaking down like those walls for me, was definitely like a thing of, giving hope, giving purpose, giving life, being truth. Like that for me really was the starting point of like falling in love with Jesus. Like, I remember the first time, or not first time, but the moment when I gave myself to Jesus, there was a lot of like humility that I wouldn't say I had like physically displayed before. And so that was like definitely a big step for me in letting down a lot of walls to allow Jesus to work. And I think it's only Jesus who could do that for me. And so that was definitely like the starting point, and kind of like what you said, Hannah, and I think you too, Adam, of just like, it's a continuation. There's always moments where following Jesus, but also falling in love with him constantly to this day, which is exciting and amazing. So yeah, awesome. So we're campus ministers, very, very obviously. How did you get involved with serving in campus ministry?
Something I can say that is going to be true for all of us is that we were connected in as students and had people invest in us, right? So that was true for me. I had never, at least from my memory, heard of campus ministry until the summer before I went to college, and thankfully had someone introduce me to campus ministry and invite me to come. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but sure. And went and fell in love with the community aspect and seeing people living like peers living their life out for Christ in that context, seeing like people discipling each other for the first time and like those kind of things. So that was like the intro, and then kind of just diving deeper into serving on campus in different ways and in that ministry that eventually led me to wonder a bit and explore like, maybe this is a thing I'm being kind of led into, a thing where God could use me to give back in the way that people invested in me. So that eventually led to an internship, which confirmed a lot of things for me as far as like going into like vocational ministry on campus. And the rest has been history at that point. So I don't know if this is... No, that's going to be love. So I'm going to wait to talk about that.
Yeah. So again, like all of our stories are a bit similar in this vein. just in college, like campus ministry, like that was my favorite part of school, without a doubt. I know, like, and it wasn't just like the social aspect. It wasn't just a way to get away from the classroom, which it definitely was that too. But I think making the decisions for myself and not just going to church because my family went to church, and I just became more and more curious, and that's when I really found, like, oh, I actually do love to study, but I love to study scripture instead of textbooks. Or, oh, I actually am really into like leading worship and not just singing on a stage as a performance. And even like every other career choice that I thought I was into, it just wasn't right for me. And the way I got involved at Christian Student Fellowship specifically was really amazing. Like I also had an internship, and the way the timing and just like the year by year situations that were happening and like the prayer that was involved in that was really just too perfect for this to not be where I needed to go. So I don't know, just a lot of faith and discovering like what I loved, and it's campus ministry. I'm into it. Yeah.
As Adam and Hannah said, I mean, basically the same. Like, I didn't know campus ministry existed until I think I came the spring semester of my freshman year, and I'd heard about, I think, a different group on campus. I can't remember the specific organization. But yeah, went to it, fell in love with it. And then, Adam, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember like vetting you on a lot of questions about campus ministry, when we were meeting, which is kind of fun to see, like, you know, how a lot of people involved in campus ministry were once in it to some degree. But specifically with this position, I would say like I had a heart for campus ministry. When I had left ISU, I didn't realize I'd be back at ISU, but was in the youth ministry for a little bit. And then like, Caitlin and I just had like this moment where we knew that college campuses needed people. And first position that we looked up was Christian Student Fellowship at Indiana State University. I was like, all right, God, I think this could be something. And so that was like a big moment, and in seeing like, yeah, we're meant for campus ministry. And so that's why we got involved and plan to be involved for a long time. So yeah, thank you for those answers. I think that was pretty cool. And so I would like to say, what do you love about, it says campus ministry on our list, but I would say about being a campus minister?
So I am not a kids person. And this is relevant. Maybe, I don't know. Hopefully we'll get there by the end of this. But I only thought that like to be a minister, you could either talk to like adults, like what students call real adults, but you guys are real adults anyways, but like older adults or like kids or like Sunday school. And I didn't realize there was like an in-between phase, like adolescence. And so I don't know, I like the integrity that our students really just have to have. It's not really just, it doesn't just boil down to, oh, well, this is what I've done for the past 50 years, or oh, I go to because my mom and dad go, or well, this is just what it is. Like, I think that I'm sure part of that plays into why students end up going somewhere, but I also think there's just a lot more, like, I don't know, like students have a stake in how they spend their time, and if they're choosing to spend time with you, then like you better make it count. And like time really is fleeting. There's only like 4 years if you're lucky with some students, and sometimes even less. And there is like a very obvious hunger, I think, for like knowledge and just to figure out what this looks like in their life, like what this whole Christianity or religion or whatever you want to call it, what this looks like in their life right now and how to keep that going. I don't know, college students are just fun too. Like, I don't know, I can relate, even though I haven't been in college for a little bit. But I don't know, they're relatable and they're there because they want to be.
Yes. Along those lines, this is such a formative time, and it's awesome to walk alongside people during that. Kind of going along with what Hannah was saying, a phrase that I've heard a lot is like, this is the time where people make their faith their own. And it's that idea of like, yeah, maybe for the first 18 years of my life, I had to go to church because my parents dragged me there. But this is the point where I'm going to decide, am I going to get up on a Sunday morning and go somewhere? Am I going to be a part of a community that is deeper, and like, am I going to actually pursue Jesus in my life? And so I love walking with that. I love I don't know, I think about all these people. We work in on a campus that has a lot of people going into schools and into businesses and into like technology, among other things, and all these people moving into those different occupations and circles of influence, bringing Christ into those places. So that excites me to like help people grow and then send them out. It's a sending ministry all the time. We can't help it, so we may as well do good with that. So that's a beautiful thing. I also, just as like more of being a campus minister, I tend towards the jack of all trades, and you get to wear like 27 hats by being a campus minister. So that's fun, to, sit down and, help someone learn how to study the Bible better 1 minute, and then go lead people in worship, and then go build something on a mission trip, and then go plunge the toilets, like that kind of thing. It's like good for me, so I enjoy that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. For me, I think it's just that aspect of helping people, like you said specifically, Adam, making faith their own, but also just getting to see like the intentionality of students, the hunger specifically we've seen in these last few years, but I think that hunger's there with students. It's just, how is it coming out? But like getting to help students along this like bridge between, they grew up the first 18 years, now they're here in this weird like transition period, and they're going to get sent out. And so it's kind of cool to get to like really build into these students of what it means to follow Jesus. And I feel like we have a cool opportunity where it's like students' schedules are more free flowing, so it's easier for us to get to like meet one-on-one throughout the week and have these like conversations with students and really get to know what they're dealing with and how we can be, praying for them and help them through these issues. And just seeing that all come together is really cool. And then, like the best day, but also the saddest day is the like senior night we do, because it's like, where they've been these past 4 years, or however long they've been going, and getting to see the growth that they've had is really, really cool. And like we're just hands and feet of Jesus. We're not like the ones who truly do the change. It's because they were willing to let Jesus do the change in them. And so that's like really cool to get to see that happen. So I love that. But yeah, And so last thing, this could be like I guess you say like quick tip or whatever you want to call it. As you go throughout your week, what helps you stay connected to Jesus?
Thankfulness. Boom. Easy. Well, actually, easy to answer, harder to do. So last night during our prayer circle, like for our Wednesday nights, we were talking about that First Thessalonians passage. It says, in all circumstances, like, give thanks. And like those are very fleeting, whether that's positive or negative. But if my thankfulness doesn't change, I'm not necessarily even feeling pretty good, but I remember what the goal is, and like, which is to serve and to love Jesus and to continue pursuing him. And just that thankfulness definitely on a daily basis, and on a weekly basis, getting some time alone, either completely by myself or just me and my family, which I have an almost 3-year-old son, which is crazy, and a husband. And so I think some like intentional time with them along with that thankfulness, like that really helps me.
Something that I am still working through, I think, is like this. Somebody coined this phrase. It's not me, okay? But the practice of slowing has been a big part lately for me, of just like taking those moments, because all those other things slide into the things of like drawing near to Jesus and focusing in the word or prayer or gratitude or those things. Like, they can't happen unless I make those moments. And I'm prone to be in a rush, to hurry to the next thing, to be thinking about the next thing. That is how my brain typically functions. I get mocked for jogging places that normal people walk, and it's like, whatever, but also what's the thing behind that? And it's, well, I'm 7 minutes late, so I need to make up that time, kind of thing. So all that kind of plays. So just like, what is this practice of like using the time well and slowing down in moments, taking a breath, like understanding God's presence is with us, doing those things. So that's the thing I'm working through consistently and trying to make happen in different places.
Very cool. Very cool. I think for me, like, the thing that really helps is like, definitely like my daily readings. I would say is a big part of it, and there's definitely been a huge shift in like the word highlighter theology goes around a lot. I don't know if you guys have heard that or not, but where it's like, what does this scripture do for me, and shifting that more to be more of, how does this set of verses fit into the grander scheme of the gospel as a kingdom as a whole. And like, we're big fans of Bible Project. If you are with us for a bit, you're either going to hear about Bible Project, Bema, or some other nerdy thing like that. All of those are great podcasts. But just like that shifting of seeing how this all fits together, this story fits together. It's the nerd that comes out of me very regularly. And so I love that, and I think that's like my passion of like, one of my passions is like wanting to help get students to do that as well. And even past that, like with like my wife and Caitlin and friends and people like that, when they ask questions, being able to talk through these things and be like, this is why this is so important. This is how these stories are so connected. and then getting to, you had said this in one of our leadership trainings, Adam, about like that, meditating throughout the day on like a verse, when there's like a specific theme or topic that like just drives my passion. I'm like thinking about it a lot, and it's just super cool to have like those aha moments that are like, this is what's happening. And so that definitely, like, for me, and staying connected to Jesus, seeing how from the beginning to the end, how it's all like one fluid story of Jesus bringing us back to this beautiful, amazing place of a restored Eden is just so cool. And so, yeah. Well, awesome. Thanks, guys, for doing this. Any last words before we go?
Any last words? I don't think so. Not for me.
Proliferation.
What is
There we go. Word of the day.
No, you don't have to look that up. I give whoever's listening permission to not have to look that up.
Awesome. Well, this is our staff podcast introduction. I'm sure they'll be on it fairly regularly. So with that, thanks for listening.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
We'll see you next week. Well, thanks everyone for listening today for our first episode of CSF As You Go. Just if you're looking to be in the know of like what's going on either in our ministry or just looking to get encouraged throughout the week, you can follow us on Instagram at INDState, as well as on Facebook and even TikTok. We focus a lot on being encouraging and loving and discipleship throughout the week, even online, to equip people with the gospel there. And so if you're looking to stay connected, you can follow those. And then you can also, we have our teachings on a podcast as well. You can just search Christian Student Fellowship and you can find the teachings there if you're looking to go deeper. But yeah, as well, you can go to isucsf.com. We have a bunch of resources on there to help you stay active as you go this week. And so thank you for joining in as we looked at just our staff and getting to see their hearts for campus ministry, their hearts for you. And we just hope that this podcast today can be an encourager for you as you go in your faith. Next week, we're going to be talking with Devin all about Bible study and just looking at, what it looks like in the life of a student. And, we'll be bouncing back and forth. And I'm really excited for that conversation that we're going to have. And so, thank you for joining in. And until next week, keep going in your faith journey and know that Jesus loves you. He cares for you and he's given you purpose. And so until next week, we love you guys and peace.